Hey everyone, it's Melinda with Tailored and Teal and welcome back to another What Sold video. These are sales from Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay from March 1st through March 15th of 2023. So as always, we are going to start on Mercari where I had 4 sales, and the last 2 sales you will kind of see a theme, which I will definitely explain once we get there. So the first sale on Mercari was a necklace that came out of my Via Trading Amazon jewelry lot. It was a black Figaro chain that was stainless steel. It was a men's necklace. Really, it could have been unisex, but I did list it under men's, and it sold for $11, which was an offer that I sent the customer. The second item to sell was from my America's Thrift Supply jewelry unboxing that I did that wasn't so great, but this particular piece was in really nice condition. It was a faux turquoise stone rondelle beaded necklace. It was in excellent condition, almost like no one had ever worn it before, and it sold for $11, which was also an offer that I sent to the customer. So the last 2 sales are all accessories that go with a particular doll that talked. Her mouth didn't move, at least I don't think so, but she had a cassette tape in her back. So you would put a themed cassette tape in and she would read you stories. Sometimes there were books involved. Sometimes there were other accessories. I had already sold the doll probably about 2 years ago. I think it sold on Mercari, but I kept the accessories separate because I figured that I could lot them out and kind of make more money off of it. This was a completely free to me item. It was given to me by a family member. And if you ever see any of these branded items with the Cricket or Corky doll, that's her brother, Corky. He does the same thing, plays a cassette and has activities and accessories and things like that. They can be pretty valuable, especially if it's in good enough condition. Now you're not going to make, $1 million off of it, but they do sell fast. So the first sale was a lot of 1987 Cooking with Cricket book, accessories, and a cassette tape. Now, I did put in all of my listings that the cassette tape has not been tested, but I did put in my listing that the cassette tapes were put in a plastic bag and stored in a room temperature controlled closet. So that kind of covered me a little bit. Of course, if someone tells me that the cassette doesn't work, I will absolutely refund them, but I did just want to say that. This lot sold for my full asking price of $30 within less than 1 day, I think. And it went via FedEx and the customer did pay for shipping. And then the other item to sell was a vintage 1986 Cricket's Favorite Games cassette tape, just the tape alone, and it sold for $10, which was my full asking price. So of my 4 sales on Mercari, I had $62 in sales, $10 even in fees, which I had to double check because it was kind of weird that it was even, giving me a profit of $52, and my average sales price for each item that sold was $15.50. Next up, we have sales from Poshmark, and it was quite surprising this time, especially compared to the rest of the year that's happened so far. This was a pretty good 2 weeks. So I had a total of 23 Poshmark sales. The first sale was a Forever 21 gray faux ostrich leather wide belt. This came out of a box of belts that I purchased from a yard sale for $2. I think there was over 10 to 12 belts in there, so my cost of goods was like less than a quarter essentially, and this sold for $10 with no discounted shipping. Next is a New York & Company Battery Park boot cut dark wash jeans. These I picked up from ThredUp's outlet center when I was not able to go into thrift stores because we were all quarantined, and they sold for $14 with discounted shipping. The next couple of sales, I sent out very aggressive offers on a Friday evening or Thursday evening, one of those, and a lot of them trickled in the next day. So you'll see a lot of these are selling for kind of a lower dollar amount, but I did it on purpose. I did send out those offers. The first one was a New with Tags Inc. International Concepts ruffle flounce tank top in a dark teal color. This one was a size extra, extra large, and it sold for $10 with discounted shipping. Next is a pair of Wrangler Outdoor Performance Series utility shorts. These came out of a men's rescue box, I believe, from ThredUp, and they sold for $11 with discounted shipping. Then we have a White House Black Market faceted black and clear rhinestone faux pearl wide linked bracelet. This came out of my ThredUp 5-pound jewelry box, and it sold for $10 with discounted shipping. Next was a pair of White Mountain black faux leather buckle moto ankle booties. These boots came out of my Helpsy boot box, the second box that I did, and they sold for $14 with discounted shipping. Then we have a pair of jeans that were given to me for free, and they were a pair of Bandolino bright green Mandy mid-rise straight leg jeans. I thought maybe someone was purchasing these for St. Patrick's Day because they were like the perfect bright green, and they sold for $11 with discounted shipping. Then we have an Outdoor Research Athena mauve knit drawstring waist skirt. I picked this up when I went sourcing back home in Pennsylvania. It took a few months to sell, but it finally sold for $14 with discounted shipping. Next is a long coat that came out of my Helpsy outdoor box. It was Petite Sophisticate long light brown trench coat. It had a zippered removable lining, so it was very, very fancy. At least I thought it was fancy. It did have a slight smell of perfume, which I did notate in the listing, and it sold for $19 with discounted shipping. Next is a sweater by the brand Sweet Romeo, and this was a bright pink perforated sweater, so it had little tiny holes in the front of it. Definitely needed to wear a shirt or a tank top underneath, and it sold for $15, and I think that this came out of one of my many bulk rescue boxes from ThredUp. Next up is a Land's End navy blue, white, and pink medallion tankini tank top or swim top. This was a size 18 long. Anytime I see a really special sizing, especially with Land's End, whether it's tall or long or women or whatever it is, I tend to pick it up as long as I can get it for a decent price and it's in good condition, which this one was in excellent condition. This sold within about a week of me listing it, and it sold for $15 with no discounted shipping. Next is a David N yellow 100% linen button front blouse. This came out of my America's Thrift Supply micro bale of blouses, and it sold for $16 with discounted shipping. Next is the brand Fun to Fun. So that's the word fun and then the number 2 and then the word fun again. Alligator printed rayon blouse. This I sourced from ThredUp's outlet center. Fun to Fun is a Stitch Fix brand, or at least it used to be, and it sold for $16 with discounted shipping. Then I have a dress that sold once before on eBay but got returned. I relisted it. It did take quite a while for it to sell the second time, but it finally did. And it is a new without tags Chelsea 28 magenta pink lace sleeveless flare hem dress, and it was a size 10, and it sold for $32 with discounted shipping. Next is a Time and True yellow and blue linen blend V-neck floral tank top. This also came out of my America's Thrift Supply micro bale, and it sold for $10 with no discounted shipping. Next is a huge boo-boo on my part. I picked this up because I thought it was a cute graphic tee. It had the word Mexico on it with these like big bubble letters, and I thought it would just be a nice basic shirt, but I've had it since 2019. I paid way too much for it, so I did lose money on this sale. It was by the brand Leyenda Urbana, and it was a Mexico short sleeve heather gray t-shirt, and it sold for $5, and that was an offer that someone sent to me. I didn't really want to decline. I think it was only listed at 10, and I really didn't feel like countering, so I just accepted it. I did lose $2.57, but it's out of my inventory, and I will no longer be picking up something like that or even that brand because I couldn't find any information on that brand at all. Next is the last pair of boots to sell from my first Helpsy boot box that I did back in February of 2022. It was by the brand Worthington, and they were the Phoebe snakeskin platform knee-high boots with a big chunky heel. These were a smaller size, a size 6, and they sold for $28 with discounted shipping. And if you didn't know, Worthington is just sold at JCPenney, but they were kind of special and definitely fun, and I'm happy that they are finding a new home. Next is from my Via Trading Amazon jewelry lot. It was a Faith Heart silver snake chain necklace. This one had no pendant, it was just the chain, and it sold for $12 with no discounted shipping. Next is an original watercolor painting of Raggedy Ann and her toys during a tea party. It was by the artist Elizabeth Ayers Nesbitt, and it was numbered. I forget what number it was, but it did have like 1 of 100 that they did, and it sold for $20 with no discounted shipping. That was a free to me item as well. Next is an item that I picked up at an estate sale recently. It was an antique red cover Rubaiyat by Omar Khayyam pocketbook of poems. This I only paid 50 cents for, and someone sent me an offer for $8 and I accepted, and there was no discounted shipping. Next up is another doll item or doll lot to sell. It was a vintage 1986 Sleepy Time Cricket doll cassette, nightgown, bunny slippers, and hair ribbons, and it sold for $17 with discounted shipping. And it was interesting because the customer had actually messaged me on Mercari first, asking if that was the cheapest shipping that I could offer. And I explained with packaging, yes, it will weigh closer to a pound than half a pound. And then they also must have liked it on Poshmark, and my Posher VA bot sent them a discounted offer with discounted shipping as well, and they accepted over there. Even though Poshmark shipping is a little bit expensive, because I gave the customer that discounted shipping of $2.02, or really they had to pay $5.95, they kind of got a cheaper deal over on Poshmark. So again, this sold for $17 with discounted shipping. Then we have a lot of 3 faceted glass beaded necklaces. These were all hand knotted. They might have been hand done or hand created, and they were in the colors burgundy, robin egg blue, and black. They were so shiny when you held them up to the light and kind of jostled them around. Very pretty, excellent condition, and they sold for $16 with discounted shipping. And then the last sale was another doll item. I told you these things sell fast. All of these sold within a week of me listing them. I do still have some that are unsold, but I do think that they eventually will go. It was a vintage 1986 Around the World with Cricket book and cassette, and it sold for my full asking price of $12. So of my 23 Poshmark sales, I have $335 in sales, $77.15 in fees, $28.28 in shipping discounts, giving me a profit of $229.57, and my average sales price for each item that sold was $14.57. Moving on to eBay, where I had 14 sales. The first sale was a New With Tags Talbot's orange and fuchsia pencil skirt. This had like a grid eyelet overlay to it. It was very, very pretty. And it sold for $16, and it sold in just a few days of me listing it. Next is a free to me item. This was a pair of Liz Claiborne Liz Sport bright pink wrinkle-free capri crop cotton pants. They were a size 10, and they went all the way to Canada, and they sold for $11. The next sale made my day. It is one of the oldest items that I have in my inventory that I was so tired of looking at. So I recently re-photographed it, relisted it, and it sold within a few weeks of me relisting. It was a New With Tags American Eagle orange pink open sleeve draped high-low blouse. It was a size small, but it was definitely oversized, and it sold for my full asking price of $10.19. I am running a 15% off markdown sale in my store, so that's why it's an odd number. Next up is a handmade kurta or kurtis. It had gold floral sequins on it in this rust red color. It was approximately a size medium. Because it was handmade, I had to just go off of measurements, and it sold for $6. Yes, that is a very low offer, but it did have some issues with it, and it was handmade, so it wasn't perfect. And I've also had it since 2019, so perfectly happy to see it go. And I still made $1.03 off of it. Next up is a Martin Gordon orange boiled merino wool sweater. This came out of my Rent the Runway flawed box that I purchased from Poshmark, and it sold within less than 24 hours for $18, which was an offer that the customer sent to me. This sweater had one stain on the front that I was able to stain treat and get it out, but totally missed another stain on the back elbow. I notated all of that and it still sold within less than 24 hours. So very pleased with that sale. Next sale is a Talbot's pink paisley sleeveless boho tiered tie back maxi dress. This was a size 10 and it sold for $22. This dress I picked up at a consignment store and it took about 2 to 3 weeks to sell. It was a beautiful, beautiful dress. Next is a new without tags woman within teal blue space dye roll tab sleeve button front shirt. It was a size 14-16 and it sold for $14.50. Next is another free to me item, and this is just the brand Alfred Dunner, but people still look for that brand. Yes, it is a more mature brand, but their stuff is actually pretty comfortable. So this was a pair of Alfred Dunner light brown flat front elastic high-waisted pull-on pants. They were a size 14 petite in excellent condition, and they sold for $10.50. Next was a pair of Old Navy athletic fit dark wash jeans. They were a size 42 by 32. They came out of one of my ThredUp men's rescue boxes and they sold for $11. Then we have a Loft floral soft puffer lightweight zip up jacket. I sourced this back in October when I went thrifting in Pennsylvania. It had a lot of interest on all platforms, a lot of lowball offers, and it finally sold for $25. Next is an Eileen Fisher black nylon cotton collared zip up vest. It was made of Italian fabric. It was a size small, but it was a boxy oversized fit and it sold for $20. The next sale was the best sale I had on all 3 platforms from these 2 weeks. It was a Coach limited edition greenish gray leather Kira satchel purse. This was a very large purse. It had a braided shoulder strap, very hefty, double handles. This thing weighed over 2 pounds. The inside was a little bit dirty, but I did clean it up and I did, list it as is. It has been listed for a while, so I recently just lowered the price down from $175 to $150. The customer and I went back and forth on a price and we decided on $112.50, and it only went to Massachusetts, so it didn't actually cost that much to ship it to the customer. That sale was definitely needed this month. Then we have a Talbot's blue rayon blend 3/4 sleeve knit sweater. It had a wider scoop neck to it. It did have one little stain on the sleeve, which I did stain treat once, and it sold for $9.75. And then the last sale on eBay was a gold tone teal and ivory butterfly enamel rhinestone dome ring. This was a size 7 and it sold for $10.75. So of my 14 eBay sales, I made $297.19. I made a shipping profit of $29.07 because the customer always pays a little bit more in shipping than what I have to pay through eBay's discounted shipping program. There was $66.30 in fees, giving me a profit of $259.96, and my average sales price for each item that sold was $21.23. And now moving on to my total numbers, where I had 41 sales from March 1st through March 15th of 2023. I had $694.19 in sales, $152.66 in fees. My cost of goods was $132.28, giving me a profit of $409.25. And my cost of goods for each item that sold was $3.23. I did sell quite a few free to me items, so that's why that number was a little bit lower than it usually is. And that concludes this video for my sales from the first 2 weeks of March. I will be putting all of my closets and stores on vacation mode of some sort. I know that eBay you can put on vacation mode or you can just change your handling time, but all of my platforms are going to be off for a full 7 days. So it'll be really interesting to see what the next What Sold video is going to look like. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I always appreciate you watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.